Hello, America. Welcome to your Leo Nation, where we believe in and support the rule of law. I am the Chief, Mark Garrett. You know what? Sometimes these things kind of go back to back. You get a few examples of something that you're talking about, want to talk about, have talked about. And if you remember my most recent episode, we talked about the LA Times, also known as the LA Slimes, and their misleading headline about a Los Angeles police department officer involved shooting, where that officer shot and killed someone who had actually called 911 asking for assistance to respond. This person's obviously emotionally really deranged, a lot of problems going on. But the interesting thing about that was, aside from the misleading headline from LA Times, was the fact that the assailant had a knife. And, a lot of people think that, the officer could have just stepped away. There's plenty of time, could have run away, so forth and so on. And the only tactical thing that I talked about in last week's episode in regard to that incident was the 21-foot rule. And again, 35 years ago, I got trained in this when I was in the California Highway Patrol Academy about an assailant with a knife within 21 feet of you if you don't have your gun drawn. In other words, what can happen in that distance? How quick can someone actually overtake you with an edged weapon in 21 feet if your gun is still holstered? And everybody thought, I can 21 feet. I can draw down and get off a number of rounds and stop this threat. Our trainers in a classroom did it over and over and over with multiple cadets. They had obviously a fake weapon, 21 feet. We had a fake weapon in our holster, and we could not get that gun down range before they were on top of us with that weapon. Couldn't do it. And so that's the only point that I made about that shooting in last week's episode, because it's so important for people to realize just how dangerous someone in that proximity, 21 feet away from you with any type of weapon, but certainly an edge weapon in this case, can be and is, and what officers all across the country are trained in when it comes to protecting themselves. So with that in mind, actually someone sent this to me a few days ago. This happens to be a California Highway Patrol officer, and I'm going to play this video for you. I'm not going to say a word. It's about 1 minute and 43 seconds, and includes the media coverage of this, an assistant DA talking about it, which is unusual during an investigation, but anyway, and the entirety of the video from the officer. So sit back, watch this entire thing, and I'll briefly discuss, my point of view. And this will be a short show today. I just want you to see this and understand this is common to all officers in circumstances like this. So take a look at this video.
Knife away, man! Don't put the knife away!
That was the moment, the violent end to a short confrontation on Highway 101. You can see here there is something in the man's hand. CHP says it was this 4-inch knife. Let's rewind and show you what led up to the shooting. In the beginning of the video, the CHP officer can be seen approaching the vehicle after it had crashed into a guardrail.
Hey, man, you okay? You okay, man?
The man exits the vehicle holding a knife. The officer commands the man to put the knife away.
Put the knife away!
A total of 7 times while walking backwards.
You can hear the fear in the officer's voice. As the officer is retreating, he's getting closer and closer to the patrol vehicle, and then you see the officer and the subject, James Combs, leave the view of the camera. A few seconds later, you hear 2 shots being fired.
It all happened Saturday evening just after 7 when CHP was called to a solo vehicle collision on Highway 101 off Ralph Lane.
It looks like the officer is there to render aid, to make sure the subject is okay since he had been involved in a crash. And the escalation by the subject happened rather quickly.
The man shot and killed has been identified as James Combs. The officer, Felix Prieto, has been placed on administrative leave.
Put the knife away!
The district attorney's office is still investigating. They're waiting for a toxicology report to come back. As for a timeline for the investigation or when the officer will return from leave, they cannot say.
So there's a couple of things here. First of all, like I said before, it's in my experience, it's really unusual for a DA or an assistant DA, a deputy DA, to be discussing really a homicide investigation. That's what this is. It was a taking of a life, in my opinion. And I think it's going to turn out to be the case, a justified taking of a human life here by this officer. But anyway, the DA's there talking about, it appears to be, or the CHP says it's a knife. I get so bent out of shape when I hear this. Anybody who can see that it's a knife. It's an edged weapon. And all she had to say is clearly in this video that this isn't an edged weapon, and so forth and so on. A couple of things about the officer, and specifically the CHP. This officer, in the short video that I saw, that I can tell, did everything right. He did everything by the book. He did everything to really, first of all, which is the most important thing, to really ensure his safety. And he pulled up well behind the accident scene to give have his vehicle act as some protection from any oncoming vehicles down the 101 freeway there in Salinas. He got behind the guardrail, again, additional protection for himself away from traffic. About half of officers all across the country who are killed in traffic, related accidents, incidents. So he did all the right things that way. Then he goes up, and what's the first thing he's asking? Hey, are you okay? Are you okay? He's looking out for the victim, the person involved in this crash. Really similar to the LAPD officers who responded. If you watched that video from last week, their first thing they did, they rendered aid. They thought this person had maybe a previous injury. They're rendering aid to this person and really looking out for that person's welfare first and foremost. This officer did the same thing. The reason I tell you these things and identify those is because I really want to set up the fact that all of his training came into play here. And from what I can tell, he did everything right, including how he handled this assault. And that's what it was by this person. As the DA said there in the article, and Anthony will post that article here to the website so people can read the whole thing from this local station, that he told this person to drop that weapon 7 separate and distinct times, 7 times. And the entire time, the officer is backing away from this individual. He's trying to put as much distance between himself and the assailant for both his own safety and the assailant's safety. If he can get that guy to calm down, to drop the knife, just to stop, maybe get some backup there, maybe get any number of other resources, maybe this person would still be alive today. The officer did everything he could with the time and the resources he had immediately at his disposal. But if you notice something there, this assailant is a lot closer than 21 feet to the officer. If anything, I'd say that's the only thing the officer did. I won't even say wrong, that maybe if there's a way he could have backed up quicker. But, in other words, I'm splitting hairs here. This person was able to close within 21 feet. And that at that point, from what we can see, for a long time, the officer had not drawn his weapon. He does eventually. But that assailant probably could have made contact, probably could have injured that officer, certainly assaulted him before he could have drawn his weapon or used any other means to defend himself at his disposal. So this officer kept backing up, kept giving orders, and eventually said, this is it. I can't retreat anymore. This guy is too close to me. I have to stop the threat. It's exactly what he did. And I said, the reason I wanted to show you this and have you guys watch the entire incident for yourself, it's often we hear, oh, man with the knife shot and killed, by officer and blah, blah, blah. We don't see the video. There is no video. The headlines are written a certain way, just like LA Times did with this previous incident. I want you to see this for yourself and understand that 21-foot rule I was talking about, it's a real thing. So with that said, I want you all to be safe. All the officers out there, listen, 21 feet, a knife is too close. You take care of yourself, you do what your training tells you to do, and you go home safe to your friends and family. For Your Leo Nation, I am the Chief. God bless you. God bless America. And we'll see you next time here at Your Leo Nation.